Ibrahim Traoré hits hard, and this time the message is loud and clear. For months, Burkina Faso has been torn apart by violence, villages left in fear, and families forced to abandon the land they once called home. But now, something has shifted. Under Traoré's leadership, government forces have struck back with power and determination, reclaiming nearly 72% of the nation's territory. It's not just a statistic. For the people, it feels like breathing again after being suffocated for too long. You can almost imagine the scene. Dust rising in the air as soldiers march back into towns once silenced by terror, children peeking from behind their mothers. With cautious hope in their eyes, elders whispering prayers of relief. These are not just battles fought with guns and strategies. They are battles of spirit, of reclaiming dignity, of saying this land is ours and we will not give it away. Ibrahim Traoré, once a soldier with fire in his eyes and a body built, from years of discipline and strength, now stands as a symbol of resistance. For many, he is not just a president. He is the young, dark-skinned fighter who dared to rise when others bowed down. His voice carries more than authority. It carries the promise of sovereignty. The idea that Burkina Faso will not remain a puppet to foreign interests or surrender to the chaos of insurgents. People feel it in their bones. Change is not just on the horizon, it's happening now. Conversations in marketplaces carry a different tone, one filled with cautious optimism. Farmers look out at their fields not just with worry, but with a fragile hope that stability might return. Mothers pray their sons will no longer have to choose between fleeing or fighting. The road is still long. The struggle is far from over, but what has been achieved so far feels monumental. For the first time in years, the balance has shifted. For the first time, fear does not own every corner of the land. For the first time, people believe that Burkina Faso, under Traoré's defiance and determination, can reclaim not just its land, but its soul. When news broke that government forces had managed to reclaim 72% of Burkina Faso's territory, it felt like a heavy weight lifting off the shoulders of a nation that has lived for far too long under the constant shadow of fear and uncertainty. For years, entire communities were cut off, living in silence and isolation as armed groups spread across the countryside. Families who once gathered in open courtyards to share food and laughter found themselves fleeing in the night. There, homes reduced to ashes, their farmlands abandoned. It was not just land that was lost during that time, but trust, confidence, and the simple rhythm of daily life. Now, this shift in momentum brings with it a surge of emotion that goes beyond statistics. 72% is not just a number, it is the story of mothers who can walk to markets without glancing over their shoulders every second. Of children finally hearing the sound of a school bell instead of gunfire, of farmers who can once again place their hands in the soil without fearing what lurks behind the horizon. It is a breath of air after years of suffocation. The soldiers who carried out this mission are not just faceless uniforms. Many of them are young men, barely older than the students they are protecting. Many leaving behind families in the capital, wives, mothers, and children who spend sleepless nights waiting for their safe return. They are driven not only by orders, but by a fierce love for their homeland, a love that pushes them to stand tall in the face of brutal opposition. The battles fought were not easy. They were not clean victories won in a day. They were grueling, fought in dusty villages, dense forests, and scorching fields where danger lurked behind every tree. Yet step by step, ground was reclaimed. Town after town, flag after flag, the map of Burkina Faso began to shift back into the hands of its own people. For citizens, the difference is deeply personal. Imagine living in a small village where, for years, going to fetch water was a life or death gamble. Parents sent their children to school knowing there was a chance they might never return. Traders who once carried goods across provinces were forced to abandon their work, their livelihoods shattered. With 72% of territory now secured, there is a cautious smile returning to weary faces. Women are walking further to fetch food. Markets are slowly reopening, and the laughter of children can once again be heard echoing in places that were silent for too long. It is not yet perfect, but it feels like a door has been cracked open, letting in a stream of long-awaited sunlight. This reclaiming of territory also brings back dignity. For too long, people felt powerless, abandoned, and voiceless. Watching the government and its forces take back such a large portion of the country sends a message. The people are not forgotten, their land is not abandoned, and their future is still worth fighting for. It sparks conversations at family tables. It stirs music and song in the streets. It reminds everyone that Burkina Faso is still standing, still fighting, still dreaming of better days ahead. But the emotions are complex. Alongside relief lies grief for the countless lives lost to reach this point. Every regained village carries memories of those who did not live to see its liberation. Behind the celebrations, there are scars, both physical and emotional, that will take years to heal. Survivors still recall nights of terror. Families still search for missing loved ones, and communities still carry the weight of destruction. Yet even in grief, there is strength. Every reclaimed patch of soil honors the sacrifices made, turning sorrow into resilience and pain into determination. 72% means so much more than territory. It is about the courage of soldiers who refuse to give up. It is about the stubborn hope of citizens who held on, even in the darkest nights. It is about the spirit of a nation that may bend under pressure, but does not break. The sound of the national flag rising over reclaimed land is not just a symbol of control, it is a symbol of pride, of ownership, of belonging. For the people of Burkina Faso, this is not only a step forward, it is a reminder that the dream of full peace is not out of reach. What makes his rise so striking is that he does not present himself as untouchable. He is young, he is passionate, and at times he is visibly burdened by the enormous task on his shoulders. This makes him more human, more relatable. Citizens do not see him as a distant figure standing above them. Instead, they see someone standing beside them, someone who feels their pain and carries their struggles in his chest. In a land where trust in leadership has been broken too many times, that sense of closeness matters. Bait bridges the gap between ruler and ruled, between power and people. Of course, the challenges are immense. Resistance is never without cost. Traoré's decision to confront external control and to steer Burkina Faso towards self-determination has painted a target on his back. International powers watch closely, not always with friendly eyes. Inside the country, there are divisions, old wounds that need healing, and enemies who thrive in chaos. Yet, this is exactly what makes his emergence as a symbol so powerful. He represents courage in the face of danger, persistence in the face of doubt. Ordinary people have begun to dream again, and that is perhaps the greatest victory so far. A farmer in the countryside can now imagine a future where his harvest is valued for what it truly is. A student can dare to believe that education is not just preparation for leaving the country, but for building it. A mother can whisper to her child at night that tomorrow may be brighter because leaders are no longer bowing down to outsiders. These small sparks of hope are what make Ibrahim Traoré more than just a president. They make him a symbol in him. People see the resilience of their ancestors who resisted colonialism, the unbroken will of a land that has endured wave after wave of hardship. They see the chance to rewrite history in their own words, to walk forward without chains, to breathe without someone else's hand pressing down on their chest. Ibrahim Traoré embodies that resistance, and he embodies that sovereignty. He is not perfect, and he does not claim to be. But in his rise, Burkina Faso has found not just a leader, but a mirror of its own strength. Hope is a fragile thing, yet it has the power to move nations and to heal wounds that years of war and chaos have carved into the hearts of ordinary people. In Burkina Faso, where fear and despair had once spread like wildfire, citizens are now slowly beginning to breathe again, cautiously allowing themselves to hope for stability and dignity. This is not the kind of hope that bursts loudly into the streets, but rather a quiet, careful hope, whispered in homes, shared in marketplaces, and carried in the eyes of children who dare to dream of a tomorrow without gunfire. For so long, Life in this nation has been overshadowed by insurgencies, by sleepless nights filled with uncertainty, and by the painful awareness that dignity itself was being stripped away. Families were displaced, villages abandoned, and entire communities left at the mercy of forces they could not control. Yet today, there is a shift, a subtle change in the atmosphere. People are beginning to feel that perhaps, just perhaps, stability is not an impossible dream. Mothers walk to fetch water with a little less fear, as farmers till their fields believing the harvest might be theirs to enjoy this time. The weight on their shoulders has not vanished, but it feels lighter than before. What makes this transformation so powerful is that it is not rooted in blind optimism. The people of Burkina Faso are not naive. They have endured too much to pretend that challenges no longer exist. Insurgents are still out there, and dangers remain. But the fact that government forces have reclaimed large swaths of territory has opened a window. It has created room for people to stand a little taller and to believe that dignity, which once seemed stolen, can be restored. Dignity in this context means more than just survival. It means being able to walk freely in your own village without fear of being driven out. It means seeing your children go to school without the constant worry that violence will cut their learning short. It means sitting in the evening with your family, sharing a meal, and knowing that your home is safe. For years, this was denied to so many. And now, as these basic pieces of life return,